all of them are going to be having this old god of fire, or it is going to be given this meaning in several societies by the archaeologists. We do not know what it meant, what it actually meant for them, but this representation is going to be repeated throughout all Middle America. An old guy with this special pot in order to carry fire, and it is going to be a very ceremonial instrument, and we're going to be seeing it throughout all the history of Middle America. And this one is really special. I actually like it very much, and you can find a lot of these ones throughout Quiquilco. Actually, in my school, in the yards, if you would just take a bit of ground away, sometimes they used some of the spaces in the school to grow some crops, like as an example of some archaeological ways of growing crops. They would reproduce some techniques that were used in Middle America. The archaeologists would do this, and they would find a lot of examples of this same instrument. And I don't know if you know this instrument. I am sure that your great parents and that your mothers perhaps know this instrument, but in Spanish it is called metate, and I don't know the name in English. I do not actually think that we have a name in English for this, but the metate is this is going to be this flat stone, and is going to have two elements: the flat stone and also this part over here that is usually they call it la mano. And well, imagine that you have some corn over here, some maize. So you have some maize seeds over here. So you would use this rock over here to pass it forward and back and forward and back. And that is the way in which you would produce some flour. You would be able to grind the maize and to grind the corn and everything. Actually, you can grind everything in this kind of instruments, and people still use them nowadays. We still use these instruments nowadays. In every single part of Mexico, we still have metates, and these are some of the greatest examples. And if you can see, the stone is already so thin, because we can see that it was used so many times until they just finished with the stone. So this is going to be a grinding tool that we still use nowadays. But think that this example has more than 3,000 years old, and we are still using the same tools in our kitchens. And in order to make tortillas, you require these things to make really delicious tortillas, really handmade tortillas. So also this is going to be very, very important. Quiquilco has a very particular way of putting dead people into the ground. They wouldn't just lay them into the ground. They would do this kind of chimneys, and in the bottom part of these chimneys they would place the dead person. But this is a very particular way of putting people into the ground. Some people say that this may reflect something like a womb, so representing perhaps that they are coming back into the Mother Earth. So they are placed in this kind of baby position, as if they were sleeping. So when you are born, or when you are in your mother's womb, you would be in the same position, and when you die, then you go back to the same position, but into the womb of the earth. But that is just an interpretation. We actually do not know what they thought about this, but this very particular way of putting people into the ground after they were dead is going to be repeating itself a lot throughout Middle America after Quiquilco. So this is perhaps going to be one of the most important influences that Quiquilco is going to be having over the rest of Middle America. So finally, Quiquilco is going to be ending because, of course, the action of the Xitle volcano. The Xitle volcano is going to have several explosions, and all those explosions are going to be covering Quiquilco several times. It was not just one time in which the Xitle volcano exploded. Actually, during the main population of the site, the volcano erupted at least 2 times. So this is going to be bringing 2 hypotheses, and remember, these are again hypotheses. We do not know. The first hypothesis, and many researchers and many social scientists and many archaeologists are going to be backing this hypothesis. Actually, this is the usual hypothesis that archaeologists are going to be backing, and it says that as this place was not a safe place anymore, because imagine that you are in your house and suddenly you see a volcano erupting. So you have time to run away and you actually escape from the volcano, and everyone in your family survives, and then you wait until the magma just gets cold and you go back to your home, and some years after you are again going to have this explosion, this eruption of the volcano. So you won't want to go back to your home anymore, right? Because you're going to say, well, any day now the volcano is going to explode again. So according to some theories, the population of Cuicuilco is going to leave the site because it wasn't a sure place to live anymore. It wasn't safe to live there anymore. But some other theories would say that actually that is not the case, that people was not getting away of Cuicuilco, but that these eruptions from the volcano actually changed the conditions for agriculture, because of course it is not the same to have soil, volcanic soil, than just having rock, right? Because once the magma is cold, it is just rock. Actually, the main pyramid was above several meters of magma, of rock, because of these eruptions of the volcano. So actually, they had to use some explosives to free some of these areas of the action of the volcano. That is a very interesting theory, because it says no, they are not running away, but the ability of this terrain to produce crops has just ended, and in order to support a state you require a lot of production, a lot of crops, and this space is not going to be able to provide those crops anymore. But usually the theory, I like this new theory a lot, because it is actually truth. If you're going to be having all this fire and you're going to be having all this rock in the place in which you used to have soil, well, yes, your agricultural production is going to be compromised for sure. So that is a really nice theory. It is a really rational theory. But usually, and this is the surprise for you, because it is really so sad that this is our last geography class before we go on holidays. But the next society that we would be studying is the Great Teotihuacan. Chan, chan, chan. The first theory that I was telling you about, in which people would be running away from this place because it wasn't a safe place anymore, would tell us that they would be running away towards Teotihuacan, that was a small city, that was a city that was starting to compete with Cuicuilco, but Cuicuilco was the most important city of its time. You need to be sure about that. This settlement was the most important settlement in the central region in its time. But Teotihuacan is also going to be starting to grow, so they are going to be competing for a time. And according to the first theory, in which people is going to be escaping from Cuicuilco, then that is the way in which they explain that Teotihuacan is going to be growing a lot, because all this knowledge and all these people coming from this great society that was Cuicuilco are going to be going towards Teotihuacan and are going to be helping Teotihuacan to grow. But a lot of anthropologists and archaeologists, today I was just reading a book that says that is absolutely false. They didn't escape to other villages. They didn't escape to other cities. The truth and the raw reality about Cuicuilco is that the volcano destroyed their ability to have any crops, and that was the end of the city. So, well, you may choose what is the hypothesis that you like the most. Of course, I would suggest you to take both into consideration, because we are not sure about any of them. But that would be it for this class. This class was shorter. This class was just about one site, about Cuicuilco, that, as I was telling you, is a very special site for me. And we don't have an activity for today. The only thing that I am going to be requiring for you is for you to show me your notes, so I can be sure that you have your notes in order, that you are understanding that we are studying cultural regions, and that we are starting with Middle America to study these cultural regions. So now we have studied the Olmecs and Cuicuilco, and coming back from holidays, we're going to be studying Teotihuacan, but with Teotihuacan things change in a way that you could never imagine. This is going to be fascinating because when we have Teotihuacan, we also have these relations with the Mayan region, and the Mayan region is one of the most amazing things that you can study in your whole life. Like, trust me, it is really fascinating. The Mayan societies are just fascinating. You could study them your whole life, and you would lack time to keep studying them just because you love them. Trust me. So with Teotihuacan, things are going to change a lot, but we are going to be seeing that just when we return from our holidays. So thank you, boys and girls, and remember, the only activity for today is for you to show me that you have your notes in order. So thank you very much.